Hello, how are you this Christmas Eve? It's Fubaba, and you're in for another real Christmas Eve treat. For I'm going to tell you a story written by Henry Van Dyke called The Mansion. So get ready for a Christmas Eve story. John Waitman wanted the best of everything. He had filled his house with expensive furniture, beautiful artwork. His mansion was a symbol of his position in the community, his religious doctrine, and even his idea about business. The Bible speaks about a house that hath foundations. He would say, "This is the proper kind of mansion for a solid man." Mr. Waitman worked hard to maintain his status and his reputation. He was certain that given time, his son, Harold, would follow in his footsteps and lay aside his silly ideas of helping the poor. "I wish Father would be more generous in letting us be ourselves," said Harold to his mother. "Your father is quite generous," replied his mother, bewildered. "He gives to all the established charities. He has kept the laws of God and man." "Yes, but he won't let me live my own life." Harold hesitated. "I want to do something that seems good to me just for its own sake. I want to do some good in the world." That December, John had asked Harold to work alongside him, attending meetings, helping him run the banking house, and hosting dinners for the wealthy and elite. It seemed to Harold that all his father's time was spent working to benefit the name of Waitman. It made Harold feel restless and unhappy. Do you ever have talks with your mom? I'm sure you do. Treasure those. On Christmas Eve, hey, that's today, Harold listened to his father, talked about the many charities he supported. "You have to be careful how you give," said John, "in order to secure the best results. No indiscriminate giving, no pennies in beggars' hats. Put your gifts where they will be identified and do good all around. Make sure people can see your gifts and know who you are the benefactor." Harold hesitated. "Father, do you remember my friend Tom Rollins? He and his family have fallen on hard times. Perhaps we could loan him some money." John's expression hardened and he shook his head. "Your grateful feelings does you credit, but is not a good investment. I cannot let you have the money." Father and son spoke heatedly late into the night, until Harold turned away and left before he said something he would regret. John sat in the library of his mansion, unsettled. The elegant furniture and beautiful paintings did not bring him the usual joy. Tonight, all his plans for the future had crumbled like dust. His son had turned his back upon the mansion of his father's hopes. He opened the Bible and read, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven." Treasures in heaven? The book seemed to float away from him. He struggled to stay awake, and then rested his head on the back of his chair. He slipped into a deep slumber. It felt like a dream. Do you ever have dreams? I like to hear them. John Waitman sat on a stone by the edge of a hill near a well-worn road. The path would across the open country, and all the travelers on the road were dressed in white. As the people passed him, he heard them talking together or singing. They moved with grace and a certain air of eagerness and joy. They were glad to be on their journey. They did not speak to him, but now and then one of them would smile at John in greeting. He wondered where they were all going. Where are they going? John rose from the stone and walked toward a group of people. One of them turned to him and held out his hand. It was John's childhood doctor. Where are you going? John asked. To the heavenly city, to see our mansions there, answered the doctor. You're welcome to join us. You must have a mansion in the city waiting for you, a fine one, too. Are you not looking forward to it? Yes, replied John, hesitating a moment. Yes, I believe it must be so. I will go with you, and we can talk by the way. Come on, all of you, let's go. As they walked, John listened to the stories of the lives of other travelers. A young widow and mother who had raised her children in purity and knowledge. A nurse, a school teacher, a missionary, everyone in the group. Maybe you too, you're part of my group. They had spent their lives in service to others, working to bring joy and peace to everyone around them. It brings Pooh Baba a lot of joy to serve others. Gives me a lot of peace. Where are all these people going to the celestial city? If so, then surely John belonged with them. Surely he too would have a mansion waiting for him. And what a mansion it would be! After all, his life had been more fruitful than theirs. He was confident in his goodness. The path wound through a beautiful green valley with tall trees, shining river, orchards were full of roses. At the end of the path was the city, white, wonderful, and radiant. A single gleaming pearl marked the gate set to the jeweled walls. The keeper of the gate smiled. Let me see your smile. Oh, that's pretty. Come in, your mansions are ready for you. The travelers walked along streets lined with beautiful buildings. The mansions differed in size, in shape, in charm, but each one was lovely and added to the glory of the city. One by one, the travelers were led to their mansions. Through the open doorways came sweet voices of welcome, low laughter, and song. The keeper of the gate stood before one of the largest and fairest houses in the city. He touched the doctor's shoulder. This is for you, he said. All the good that you have done for others has been built into your mansion. Joy lit up on the doctor's face. The keeper of the gate turned to John with quiet, searching eyes. Where do you wish to go? To see my own mansions. John answered with half-concealed excitement. Will you take me to it? The keeper of the gate withdrew a book and consulted the pages. Consult the pages. Certainly, he said with a curious look at John. Follow me. It felt like they walked for miles past beautiful houses and gardens. Eventually, the houses became cottages, smaller, but still lovely with bright flowers. Finally, they reached an open field covered with sparse and thin grass. A few bushes struggled to grow. In the center of the field was a tiny hut. It looked as if someone had built it using scraps and fragments of other buildings. The hut dropped sadly in the barren field, so far away from the splendid city. This, said the keeper of the gate, speaking with a low, distinct voice, this is your mansion, John Waitman. John turned away from the hut. There must be some mistake. The keeper of the gate shook his head. How can this be my house? Cried John. What about the schools I funded? The hospital wing that bears my name? The churches that... The keeper of the gate lifted his hand. We know of your work, but did you do them in order to build up your mansion in the world? You have been rewarded for them. Would you be paid twice? Certainly my good deeds must count for something, cried John. Yes, answered the keeper of the gate. They count in the world where you counted them, but they do not belong to you here. John knelt in shame. If my life has been of such little worth, how am I here at all? He cried. Through the mercy of the King. How have I earned it? It is never earned, it is only given. I have failed, John said. What could I have done better? What is it that counts here? Only that which is truly given, answered a bell-like voice. Only that good which is done for the love of doing it. Only those gifts in which the giver forgets himself. Has there ever been nothing like that in your life? If so, I have forgotten it. The keeper of the gate smiled tenderly. The King never forgets, and so you have a little place here. The coldness faded away, and John's heart felt calm, almost light. He heard the clock chime as he lifted his head. It was morning. He sat lost in thought. Then he wrote a check and went upstairs to Harold's room. He looked at his sleeping son, and then tiptoed to the desk. He began to write a note. Here is the money you sought for your friend. Ask for more if you need it. I want to know your heart better, and I have made mistakes. A slight noise made him turn his head. Harold sat up in bed. Father, is that you? Yes, my son, answered John. I've come back. I've come up. Well, here I am, and God give us a good Christmas together. The mansion. Fubaba challenges you this Christmas Eve to think about where and what type of mansion that you want to build. And do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule. Fubaba, happy Christmas Eve. Bye-bye.